Have you ever thought about why it's called Valentine's Day? How to fight better? Oh, Trisha's answer. We only raise hands. It's been a long time being persecuted. Huh?
And welcome to our Zero Gravity podcast. Today we are shooting our 5th episode.
Woohoo! Come on.
Now we can't hide the obvious. If you can already see with all the decor, the lighting, the hearts, the red and the pink with what we're wearing as well. Except for Sana.
I'm complimenting the pinks in the room.
And the month that we are in currently, that's Feb, we're going to be talking about relationships and who better to have in a relationship podcast than a couple that's been married for almost 9 years. Please welcome our pastors.
Almost double digits, guys.
Our pastor and our pastor's wife.
Achievement.
William and Tricia Soans. How does it feel to have your first podcast as a couple?
Trisha, why don't you tell us? You're so prepared for this.
I'm not prepared at all. And it's very nerve-wracking, to be honest. But we're excited to do it.
We also have another special guest on this podcast, and that is Stephen Fernandez.
Come on!
Woo! Let's go, guys.
Stephen, how does it feel?
Relationships and IT professional.
A few moments later.
That's it, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Stephen, how does it feel? It's your first podcast.
It feels good. I'm really excited to get right into this and discuss all this with Sana and Trisha.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Awesome. So, since we have two couples sitting at the table here today, plus it's the month of Feb, Valentine's Day, and all about relationships, we thought the perfect topic to discuss today would be the value of commitment, understanding the value of commitment.
Yeah.
And we're going to be more than asking Sana and Trisha questions. What Stephen and I thought would be perfect to do was deconstruct even our relationship. We've gone to Sana and Trisha a lot for advice when it comes to relationships and how to do relationships better. So today we've noted down a few topics and important points on how we can do relationships better and even understand the value of commitment more. So we have different topics like dealing with baggage or purity, accountability, how to fight better and stuff like that. So we're going to go ahead and ask some questions.
How to fight better?
Yeah, like is there a right way to fight and stuff like that? Because people is like, no, you can say whatever you want to say, get it off your chest.
Knives and forks.
No, we're not going to do that.
Have you ever thought about why it's called Valentine's Day?
I thought it was something to do with Saint Valentine.
Seriously, why is it called Valentine's Day?
Because of Saint Valentine.
What was he?
He was a saint of love.
Who said?
In the 50th century.
I don't know anything about it. I don't know why
in the
we
50th
celebrate.
century.
Even I don't know.
In the 50th century, we're in the 20th century. So in the future, he was.
I went in the
15th?
in the 10th century.
So see, if anybody knows what Valentine's Day is truly about, then you should let us know in the comments.
Yes, go ahead and comment if you know
facts.
facts.
This and let you know better thoughts about why we celebrate Valentine's Day.
Yeah, it'll be even better if there are like conspiracy theories on Valentine's Day. We'd be really open to discussing that as well.
Yeah.
Sana especially.
So anyway, let's dive right into this, guys. Are you all ready?
Yeah.
Well,
So-
who is ever ready?
So why don't you begin by telling us how long have you all how long
He's a Chinese man.
let us So let's dive right into this. Why don't you begin by telling us how long the both of y'all have been together, like overall?
The right answer is
Sana, tell me.
how long have we been together? Define
Yeah.
together.
He said from the beginning.
In a relationship,
so,
yeah.
I mean, I know the answer. I'm just trying to
I think we met in 2011. So it's been 15 years.
Whoa,
Wow,
14 years.
15
Long time.
years.
How long have we known each other? It's been a long time. Being persecuted. Huh?
What did the timeline of that 15
I
years
mean-
look like?
So
Trisha, tell us.
yeah. So we met each other in 2011, like Sana said. But we were just friends and we used to serve on most of the teams together. Cut forward, I think, I don't know the years, but I was 16 when I joined church. We were
God.
friends. Yeah, we were friends till I was about 18. And I think mid when I was 17 and a half or something is when we actually told each other that we liked each other. And since then, yeah, we've been going strong since. We actually had some really great years trying to get to know each other and giving time for each other to like grow and develop. And yeah, we got married when I was 21. So
Whoa,
Wow.
it's been a
21.
good 12
Made some
years
proud
now.
decisions for
Nice.
Yeah.
women.
So 12 years now, huh?
12 years.
Yeah, since we've been together.
Yeah, this year we've just completed 8 years of being married.
Yes,
This is
in
our ninth
November.
year. This November will make
Nice.
9 years.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
looking at the course of that relationship, how do y'all think y'all were able to make decisions to take further steps in your commitment through each phase of that relationship?
Whoa, Trisha's answer.
Lot of Okay, so honestly, we had a lot of moments where we would just talk about everything. A lot of times when I would, at least for me, I would sit and pray. And at that point, as funny as it may be, I used to go and sit and talk to my mom about everything. If for most of you that, I don't know if you guys know, but Sana was my first boyfriend. So,
It was special.
yeah. So everything that I did, I actually went to my mom. So even when he first told me he liked me, he also told me the same day that the person I get into a relationship with, if it's you, I want to be able to say that I'm going to marry that person. And so being 17...
Clear intentions, guys.
Yeah,
You have to have
so-
very clear intentions.
Being
Very
17,
clear.
I was like, shucks, man, this is it. I just started and now
Just at 17,
You
that
just
would
have
have
to
been like
lay
a
it on
really
it.
tough decision though.
It
Like
was
there's
a
no
very-
option. If
And it
it's a
was-
yes, then you have to chain that person to you. Finish.
And so it was crazy because I went and talked to my mom and she said, if you really see this going somewhere, then pray about it and think about it and take it seriously. And so, yeah, that was it. We talked about it. I prayed about it and I felt like this is who I was going to marry. So it was a very intentional decision. And so I think through every phase, we've just had open communication, clear intentions, like Sana said, and someone or the other to actually talk to and help us through it. So
Nice. But for you, it was like both your decisions. Even like starting to see Sana and even getting married were both like really young ages. So like, was it hard for you or was it easy decisions to make?
I feel like it was a little bit of an easy decision because
I was perfect. So when you find something with no flaws, it's easy to make a decision, right?
actually it was a really easy decision for me to make because once I actually talked and prayed about it, I felt really at peace. So, and I knew this is who I wanted to be with. So no matter what, I was willing to just work it out.
Nice.
I think that was the biggest decision, was just to be determined and focused on making it work. Yeah.
Mm. I have a question from one of the things you said. It might be a little off from what I've asked, like given you all a script for. But you mentioned something about having peace. Now, even I had the same thing. I think even Stephen said that when we decided, we had the same feeling of peace. But what does that mean? What does it feel to have peace? And how do you know when that peace is from God rather than just satisfying you to know, okay, I'm just sure about this person because he seems fine?
Initially, when you say that you like somebody, it's just easy to be all about your feelings and this is what I'm feeling in the moment and stuff like that. But when you actually sit and you pray about it, when you're reading scripture and you're not just doing it yourself, you're doing it together at some points, you have a sense of knowing that God's in this situation together. So no matter what we talked about or no matter what we went through, we would either get confirmations or people would just be like, we would always be covered by other people. So I never felt like we were ever doing anything wrong or like it never felt like I needed to hide something. So for me, throughout that entire phase, I always felt like this is like a really peaceful thing to be a part of. So yeah, I was never uncomfortable, which is great.
Oh, it's good to know these things. First time I'm hearing all this.
Yeah, like Sana's unusually quiet.
Sana's face is saying that he doesn't know any of the stuff.
I don't think a lot of people believe there's one person for me. It's really difficult to understand that because scripture is not very clear on certain things. We know God made Eve one woman for Adam. God chooses specific people for specific things. But I think a sense of knowing, I think it's really important to know yourself first before you ever get into these kind of commitments and relationships. I don't think there's ever a time when you're fully ready for something. I don't think any of us, many people often say this, you're not always ready for it. You're only always willing. You're willing to get married. You're not always ready for it. You're willing to be a parent. You're not always ready for it. So I think the question is, how mature are we in our singleness, to take care of our own personal disciplines before we actually commit to somebody else and look to a marriage level kind of commitment. Because if we can't at least have a base figuring out of who we are personally before God, and at least addressing or getting somewhere on that journey of finding and being obedient to your call, then clubbing yourself with somebody else and then starting to do this together just adds more complications to your life. And so we did take that. We took some time off. That's what Tricia was saying when we were on and off before we could finally kind of give our commitment to get engaged and married. We actually took quite a few months off just to personally consider where God had called us and what He had called us to. That was really, really important for us, because I never wanted to be making any decisions that would then directly have her need to make the same decision as I did. I wanted her to make her decisions on her own and say, okay, I am making this decision. So tomorrow, if anything goes really badly or if it goes really well or whatever, she can always say, hey, I heard from God and so I said yes. So that way it also applies to me. Whatever decision I make, I got to know that God has spoken to me personally and then God has spoken to her. So together we bring our confidence that God is leading us somewhere and our ability to walk together, so that when whatever we say yes together, and we know that is our decision, and we take responsibility for that. So that just helps.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. When we go from now your singleness to being in a relationship, I think one of the biggest advice we've always got is, just like you talked about, keeping God in the center when you're in your singleness. Also, then when you get into a relationship, keeping God in the center of that. So what does it look like according to you when you give somebody the advice to keep God in the center of their relationship?
Tricia has these answers.
When you say keep God at the center, definitely for us, one of the things that we did not do initially was pray together. But we did start, and when we did, we found that our relationship did a lot better. We were open to listening to each other. We were open to communicating better. And that just comes with being able to be your own person and connected with God. So when you're together and doing that with God, it's something completely different. I feel like there were so many moments in our relationship where he would be praying about something and I would be praying about something, and when we would go and talk about it, we'd be like, wow, you heard the same thing. And it was just fascinating to know that God was speaking to us both about the same thing at the same time. So
a lot of times when we get married, when God instituted marriage, He says the two shall become one, and that's a very important part of who we are, because I think God takes us as separate people, separate calls, separate purposes, and He kind of puts that together to form one new thing. And the one new person is the one new mandate God gives us now as a family. That means whatever is produced through us, our children and things like that, the works, all of that is like one new thing, is one new purpose that God is doing. But I think also we will always be our separate two persons. Like she'll always be a woman, always be a man. She'll always have her own temperaments that she was born with. I'll have my own personality I was born with. And I think the journey of being one flesh is to find the middle ground between every difference that we have.
Yeah.
And those differences are really good actually, because they always work together to fulfill up the purpose that God wants. So whether, whatever discrepancies are there, man, I feel like God makes us perfect when we come together, in terms of, where she's really strong in the areas that she's really weak, I'm quite strong in there. Where I'm really weak, she has, a good control over that. And so we're able to do things together really well. So that oneness of flesh and oneness of fruitfulness is really good. But yet we are our two own people, where we're dealing on our separate relationship with God too. We're walking with God, trying to work on things in our lives at the same time, our personal visions and things like that. And I think that's where, if we can bring God at the center of our lives in that, then automatically God leads our marriage together. If we can be two persons or two people that can walk with God in a simple way.
Yeah.
Every time when I look at the Bible, the more I read all the time, I'm always confronted and reminded of the simplicity of the people that walked with God. And that's one thing that really, really encourages me to keep a real relationship with God, is that to see that, man, they were weak people, but nobody had the strength to cancel them out or kind of remove their call. But God kept giving another chance and another chance, and they finished what God called them to do. And I feel like that's our journey, is our ability to walk with God as individuals. And we'll be having and making mistakes. And I think today with the internet, the world is very unforgiving of mistakes. Especially the higher you go in leadership, the higher you go in prominence, the question is always, can you believe this person did this? Or this person said that, or if you ask me, I'll say yes. Like Jesus was never offended by a woman who had 4 or 5 husbands, or a woman who was caught in adultery, or what. He was never offended by the tax collector who was robbing people. He was not offended by that. But he always saw a chance of redemption to finish the call. And if we can work on that on our own, like marriage will become so much better when we come together. So I feel like putting God in the middle of our marriage is more like putting God in the center of our lives personally. Automatically, the habits for family come in. Automatically, the habits for good relationship come in. All of those things work themselves out when we can individually work our relationship out with God.
Yeah, that gives a lot more clarity actually, because usually when you're saying God in the center, people misinterpret that as just doing everything in a really traditional and so that just gives a little more perspective.
I think, see, a lot of, when it comes to our idea usually of marriage, is always firstly derived from our own parents.
Yeah.
Right? Obviously, that's the closest marriage we ever see. And the only one we have to see that up close. But then we have a view of like other people's marriages at a distance. We have, and the distance we always see is like Instagram, whether people are taking so many holidays a year, or what are their highlights that they have that keep coming up all the time with their children, with their families. And it puts unnecessary pressure on what family life ought to look like. Whereas all of us know family life is, man, especially in a city like Bombay that's different from the entire nation, with all the pressures that there are for whatever life is like here. I think the simplicity of just walking with God is the foremost important thing in our lives. And that itself kind of should allow the other parts of our life to fall into place. Like especially, and like working on simple things. Sometimes we're looking at traditional things of, whatever marriages could have been, like making time to have meals together. One of the things we did a couple of years ago was start to pray together every night, regardless of how tired everybody is. We'll pray, even if it's a short prayer, but we pray together. Sometimes take time to worship together. Sometimes take time to share something out of your reading together. These take times to go out somewhere, do a drive, do something. The point is not to do more things. The point is to become one. Right? And so do whatever is possible in your realm, and that helps. It all helps towards that.
Now, keeping that point in mind now, we are going to bring about a few aspects on relationships and different things that we're going to break down from Stephen and mine's relationship as well. And the first thing that we really wanted to ask your advice on is fights. Now, you all spoke a lot about like putting God in the center and stuff like that, but not everybody would like, I don't know, maybe they're not believe like God can even be in the center of your fights as well, the way you solve it, the way you get through a fight. How do you think there's a right way to fight and a wrong way to fight, and how can you do it better?
Trisha is really good at these things.
It's a very question.
What are fights? Define fights. Though.
I mean,
Like it's different for everybody.
so in our family, we don't call them fights. We call them conversations.
We don't call them that. Noah calls them
Noah
conversations.
calls them that really.
So if we're yelling in the house, he'll yell from the other room. Stop having conversations. But what do you mean? What do fights mean?
So obviously it's not like a whole physical fight, but no, I'm not talking about that. We've never had a
Like
physical
argument.
fight.
Basically fights and
like having an
arguments.
argument.
Yeah.
Our conversations.
Then why don't we be so
Like,
technical
if you
about
order
it?
groceries
There's
from
a
the
wide
wrong house.
audience. Like for them, fights
We're
could
not
be
talking
like
about physical fights now.
No, we are talking about arguments.
That's like a different section that they need.
Argument. All our fights are basically arguments only, because it's very difficult to agree on the
Opinions.
same thing. Yeah.
disagreements.
Disagreements.
He said, she said. Vanilla
I
and
don't think there's a
chocolate
right
ice
way. Do
cream.
you think there's a right way to fix things? Argue, basically.
So I think it's all contextually based. Like it depends where you are, depends
Yeah.
who's around you.
Correct.
It depends, the amount of, I think we'll roll back to who you are as a person and what you're trying to achieve. I think the longer you're married, you realize that some things are just not worth saying. So, if you want to have a good day, just shut up sometimes. It'll be good to keep quiet.
That's
Yeah.
good advice.
That's one thing we've
it's
learned.
not worth sometimes voicing your opinion when you're trying to have a good day and you know it's going to ruin the day. That's my one key advice for being married
Gates the room.
is just shut up sometimes. I think usually when you're married, you'll realize most of your disagreements are just pointless opinions that you have about something that honestly doesn't matter. Rarely you'll have the one big conversation that's a really heavy weighted conversation that needs so much like back and forth. But usually it's just picky stuff that one person likes and the other person doesn't like. And I think getting around these kind of things is you want to always, we've figured out for us, we always want to try to find the midway between that. Sometimes it could be preferential, it could be food, like what food we're eating all the time, it could be like what time we're getting home, certain things about how something's done in the house, or about what I said or she said, or the way we parented a certain situation, or could be anything. But I think one thing that I've learned personally is to try to find the middle point. I'm not very good at that. Trisha's really good at that. Trisha's really good at finding the midway part, and
Thank you.
she'll always, you're welcome. She'll always come to the middle place first to say, all right, I don't mind doing it this way or that. I'm the one who usually takes time to come there. Because God has made me perfect in many ways. So
No,
to find those
just not this one.
imperfections
It's a
doesn't feel
very
very good.
like a man
not
thing.
say-
Be like,
yeah.
no, you walk all the way to
Yeah.
my half.
You say sorry first.
There's a reason we are alpha people.
Oh my
A lot
god.
of cuts have to make in this
Controversial statement.
Cancel culture.
There's a reason
Like cancel.
God gives us that much confidence. And so, so walking to the middle is something I really struggle with. It takes me days sometimes. But I think you tend to understand each other, know where, like, what's something that's like okay to talk about and something that needs to be talked about. Like something that's small offense that's not really valid or something that's a really big mistake that you made. I think we've learned somehow, we're learning to segregate those things and talk about what really matters. And what doesn't matter is learn to just be like, yeah, I'm sorry. Shouldn't have said that, shouldn't have done that, and let it go. And find our peace in the sanity.
So the thing that Sana was saying, what did you just say? You said...
I don't know, I said something good about you, so maybe you should also
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Nice
So
about
Sana
you.
was saying how he knows when to actually talk about something and then when to let something go. I'm just going to say I'm not someone that knows how to let things go. So if you're looking at
Testify to
major
that.
arguments, Sana's really great at that. The problem is I will find a way to talk about it. And so we've actually really learned over the course of time how to have our conversations and how to have our fights and how to deal with an argument where I'm someone that really needs to talk about something at the moment, but Sana just needs time and space. And so just honoring each other and our boundaries at that moment to know, hey, if I'm going to force him to talk to me about this right now, we're going to get nowhere and it's going to get worse.
Because usually I know what to say.
I like to say the same thing. No, Sana likes to say the same thing over and over.
After like 6 hours, I'll say the exact same
Yeah,
thing.
the same thing. It's so frustrating. But
Because men think straight to the point.
No, in
Women
your
think
case,
like
it's
this.
Stephen like that. Stephen has to get, like, he has to say something, but he'll say it without, like, going all the way.
But then
Yeah,
we've
I say
also...
to the point, right?
I said you go all the way
No, I
around.
never go all
But
the
see,
way
we've
around.
established that Charissa and Sana are more like so.
Yeah,
It's
they are.
possible that Stephen
They
and
are.
I deal with
Could
stuff the
be.
same way.
It does
Yeah.
take me
But
time
also it's pretty
actually to
similar,
say
like-
sorry.
Yeah, she's like Shasta is normally the one who wants to like wait and discuss it later, and I want to solve it immediately.
Those people are
No,
usually
but
the
I
smarter
want
people.
to. Yeah, I wanted to
they're
ask
wiser.
if
Why, are you
that's...
talking about us? Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
We are the smarter
Exactly.
people in
No,
this.
because
Why do you want to
honestly...
sit and hold and like
Yeah.
deal with it? For,
No,
like,
no. So
I
see,
never know.
this
Sort
is
it out.
something we honestly need to ask you about because it's something that we've asked couples also. There are always those that like to wait, think things out rationally and come to a place where they want to have a genuine conversation with you about it. So they'll take time. But there are those other people that are like, no, it affected me like so much, so I want to talk about it right now. So in a situation like that, even over there, you're trying to honor each other. But how do you do it when you're like two people who are on totally different tangents?
Don't get married.
So
I think it's important to know like what works. If sorting something out immediately works, do that. If you feel you're more composed, Tisha usually likes to wait because she's very slow to pick the right words.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
same. I'll just
honestly,
cry.
so I know what I want to say immediately. So for me, it's quicker for me to say like have a conversation immediately. So if she wants to have it later, we'll wait and have the conversation so she has clarity of mind. So it's whatever works for your situation, do that. The point is at the end of the day, you want to sort something out and move forward in life. It's not about who's smarter, although it's mostly like...
No, let's cut it off right there.
But whatever works,
agree.
man. If you like the time to clear your mind and process and all of those things and then speak clearly afterwards, do that. If you can do it right away, do that. Plus, you know, if you're... Sometimes I'm the one that, like, if I say immediately, I'll just say too much and then unnecessary things are said.
Yeah.
I think we've just taken time. Like now I know initially I would just get into an argument right there and be like, hey, let's talk about this right now. I need
And
to
she
solve
might have
it.
match.
But now I know, not because of him, but just for my own sanity, that hey, when I actually take the time out to think and regroup and come back, I feel like we have more productive conversation rather than having the same thing being said again.
When she
and
says
again.
she means she.
Yeah, because honestly, even if I have it at the same moment or like wait for half an hour and then have the conversations, and I'll say the same thing. So at least for my sanity, I feel like, hey, this is my peace of mind. I can have this conversation now.
Yep.
And also, like, one of the things that we've really established when we have fights or arguments is just knowing where and what to say and what boundaries
When
we do
to
not
speak
cross.
and when to show eyes, basically.
No,
That's
what
very
boundaries
important.
not
Like
to
when
cross.
you
Yeah.
speak or when you just then
Yeah, that connection you
see,
really need to
the more
develop.
married you get, like the longer you're married, your eye power is very strong. Even if you're wearing specs and all, no, you can look through the other, it burns their heart.
If you see me giving
So
sun
you see
eyes
your
right now,
parents and all, no, the way they communicate is very powerful. That's one
Yeah.
lesson we've been learning of late. It's like when you're across
Why, are
the
you
room and you
making
say
the eyes
something
or
bad
me?
and the other person looks
Very
at you.
nice.
You
But I
look
want to
at
know
them,
who's making the eyes.
immediately
Like,
you get it. They're like, okay, we have a conversation when we get home.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, what you said is very true. Finding that middle ground is super important. Even for us, like we found that our middle ground was okay, give us some time to wait and think about it, but
Yeah.
not like go to sleep with, not having started.
Yeah.
At least, reach some kind of middle ground.
yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, like as we segue from that, we'll move into the next topic we wanted to discuss, and that was about baggage. So why don't we, Sana, why don't you begin by telling us maybe what you think exactly is considered baggage in a relationship?
Whoa.
Stephen, why don't you tell us how much baggage you have first?
I have around 3 suitcases and 2 backpacks.
Yeah, such a bad joke. Let it be. Let's
like
just
kind
go
of
into
very
this
old
answer
person
of
joke, I
that,
think.
not the, yeah.
Baggage is like a big deal. It's made up of all of the things from your past.
That you haven't
Good.
dealt with.
Yeah, I mean, could be your relationships, could not even have anything to do with relationships, actually. It could be you trying to even accept yourself or the way you were parented growing up, what that season was like. So that's a huge deal. It's basically, I think I said this in the beginning, it's you figuring out yourself with God. The more you know God, you tend to discover yourself more. And you tend to know yourself more in, when you're trying to act out of wanting to be noticed. So those are the things that you're usually insecure about in a relationship. One of the things about marriage is it really segregates who you seem to be from who you really are. And so who you really are, if you're not comfortable with who you really are, that side of you starts to get really raw, and you don't know how to deal with all of that. And so basically dealing with your baggage is being able to just sit with yourself before the Lord. Ask yourself tough questions. Am I okay about this? Am I okay about that? If there's anything, have I forgiven my parents for anything? Have I forgiven this person? If I was in a relationship with somebody before and there was betrayal or there was anything you felt ashamed or anything, have I been able to deal with all of these things? Because if not, and you take this in, then you put all this on the other person and make it their problem, which basically becomes the thing where there's the biggest issue in relationships is that when you come to a place where there's no clarity to move forward, there's just loggerheads, and you both have a wall in front of you, and there's no way to get over it because nobody wants to make that wall smaller, right? And the wall is only something that I create. Like, it's not something that she necessarily creates for me. So if I need to deal with baggage, what's my past like? How has my past made me? Do I think a certain way? I've met so many women, when we talk about things like marriage, like young girls, they'll say, I never want to be married because all men are like this. Okay, that's usually either a man figure in their life that has maybe let them down in some way, even if it's a father. Similarly, I've seen men, who are like, they'll keep talking, women are always like this, so picky about everything. They're so... It's that same thing of your expectation of what a woman is or man is, not being able to be probably more mature look at things, and so you tend to put the weight and the blame on the other person rather than looking at, hey, what's my responsibility in this? Have I grown? And usually I'll say this when it comes to stuff like baggage, one really easy way to deal with it, all right, is to I'd say the more that you try to discover Jesus and walk in your call, you actually walk further and further away from it. It becomes like non-distinct to you. And a lot of people spend too much time. I think one of you guys used the word, today we're into deconstructing everything. We want to break everything and understand everything. Today the main issue with mental health is the absolutely unnecessary level of focusing on yourself. We're so focused on our goals. We're so focused on our, like, what makes us up and how we look and all of these things, that we break ourselves down so much that we can't put ourselves back together. And then our whole life is a mess mentally. All right. But the more I process my life with the Bible and with God, what God does is He builds the pieces of our life together and He puts it on a track to going somewhere. So automatically it becomes easy to be able to choose somebody if you want to go somewhere and you get somebody and you meet someone and you want to make a decision. It's very easy to find that, because like, hey, are you going my way or not? You know, if you're not going my way, then maybe this is never going to work, because God's called me here. This is where we're going, and this is what my call is. Right? So if you're nowhere in this vicinity and you're heading there, there's no chance. Rather than trying to see how emotionally we can connect, see if they're a nice person, all of these things, we by that time have stopped and our train is not moving anymore. And now one person's pulling that way, one person's pulling this way.
Yeah.
And by the time it's done, we've lost 2, 3 years, 5 years of our lives. Now your baggage with me, my baggage with you. And the more we figure out ourselves, the lighter our baggage goes. And the actual weight we are created to carry is the weight of the call. It's the weight of God's heart upon us. That's why He says, my yoke is easy and my burden is light. So that's what we want to be carrying. So dealing with baggage, there's a lot to talk about this, but I just say in a foundational manner, all right, the more I focus and I look at my life in transparency through the Word. I don't just think about my life. A lot of people are just thinking about, this is done to me, that is taken from me, this is the way I was treated. Now I feel like crap. I feel really bad. You know, do not process your life like that. Process your life through what you're reading in the Word. If the Word's talking about forgiveness, ask the Lord for forgiveness yourself and ask yourself, who can I forgive? Right? If the Word's talking about being obedient, ask yourself, Lord, where are you calling me to be obedient in this season? So what you're doing, you're reflecting and you're moving forward. Slowly by slowly, you will realize that God is working in you to deal with all of the other stuff and leave it all behind. So what happens is, when you come across somebody who's dealing with baggage, your thought and your mindset is completely different. You're thinking about moving forward. The other person's only thinking about, but I'm like this. But we don't want pity party. All right. We want to be moving forward. And so usually, like for me personally in my life today, I still deal with a lot in my own life where I'm just asking the Lord, God, I want to be faithful to you. So I just want to be obedient. So, you know, and we can walk together in that place. So Trisha's also doing the same thing in her own life. In, you know, even in the changes in her life in the last year and 2 years, our life with Noah and things like that is all like, God, our lives are changing, but God, how can we walk closer to you?
So I actually see baggage as, there's like an analogy that I would look at it, and when you see like a suitcase that's really broken, you need to take it back to a guy that's going to repair it. I don't know, they call a suitcase fixer. Mochis are for shoes.
Nobody stitches a suitcase also.
Who knows?
But yeah, so you take it back to a mochi, and the only person that can fix it is the guy that's going to be able to fix it.
Mochi.
The mochi. Okay. But when you look at it, God says, cast your burdens unto Jesus, and I mean, the Bible says, cast your burdens. Yeah, so that basically you're putting your burdens and you're giving this bag to be fixed by the suitcase fixer. And there's not much that the person around you can do except help you carry that burden. There's another scripture that'll tell you to help carry burdens of the people around you. And that's the only thing that your partner can do is help carry it, but he's not going to be able to fix it for you. The only person that can do it is the person that can fix your bag. So,
spiritual mochi Jesus.
Yeah, so spiritual mochi Jesus, correct.
Okay, one of the final points that we had was accountability and purity. So maybe you guys can, at least for us, one of the key factors we found as we started our relationship off together was being accountable. So maybe you would like to share with us why it's important for young couples, especially today, to be accountable to their leaders or to their mentors.
Yeah, today I think today what is there to offer for young people, especially on this journey of getting married, is there's a much more mature church that's ready to accept these things like relationships. Like the word dating is like such an easy thing to hear. Like even 10 years ago, for us it was like these terms were not really easily accepted by the church. And of course, I don't use the word dating often, not because we don't want to, but just because it just has too many cultural references attached to it. Especially that's very Western, and it often misrepresents your heart, maybe when you're trying to talk about it. And so I just feel like the church is a lot more ready and a lot more willing to help young people walk through their time of commitment and being together and getting to know each other as they commit to being engaged and getting married. Even 10 years ago, like, we didn't have people who were ready to say, oh, hey, you guys are dating and you guys are together. Hey, can we spend time with you? Can we help you guys? Can we walk you through some, like, counsel and all of this? It was not many people really thought about that. I'm glad that in so many years we could kind of develop something now that when somebody says, hey, I really like this person, we can say, all right, let's talk about it. How do you want to, what kind of like is it? Do you like them, in this way or in that way? And have you told them yet? And parents also so much like open this time to hear their children. Like at 17 and 18, you can actually sit down and talk to your parents. At our time, if you said it, there was different consequences. I mean, we told our parents, she was a lot younger at that time. She was what, 17, 18?
18.
And there was a lot of work to do, but not a lot of like people were actually getting married around the same time. The people that were getting married were a lot older. Like she was still a teenager and stuff. And so we didn't have a lot of accountability that was set up for us, or anybody that was willing to come and, even people didn't talk about it much. Even if they were willing to be there for you, nobody wanted to ask questions. It was just something that the church didn't talk about much. But we kind of had to walk through that much on our own. Of course, we did have leaders, like letting them know, that, okay, we really intend to get married. We wanted, but it went as far as that. It didn't go deeper. I wish we had somebody that was really interested in, pouring into our relationship, sharing stories and kind of giving guidance and stuff like that. But it was still something that we figured out and still something that we're figuring out today. But I think one of the things when we got married, this was very interesting. When we got married, we took a couple of things that we said we want to be accountable for this. I think we drew boundaries around what we say and what we joke about. So, for example, like we never said, okay, as soon as we cross these boundaries, we should ask for help. That's very, very important. So the boundaries were like, hey, I never want to say, I don't know why I married you. I like sometimes it's out of frustration you tend to say it. So no matter how bad an argument is, never want to say that. Okay. Number 2 is we never want to ever raise hands or use bad language in the house. So like that was like we only raise hands to praise Jesus.
I was waiting to see where that sentence went. I didn't expect it. I was like, where is this going?
No, but yeah. So if we ever raise hands, we need to call for help. That's a very important, stuff like this. So we just put these things around to say, okay, this is where our boundary is. All right. It never needs to get out of hand. So this is what's going to help us to be accountable to each other and know that if we come to this place, like definitely we need somebody who we can trust to help us.
True.
And it's good that we've not come there yet. Come close, but not all the way there yet. So these kind of things helped us with our personal accountability. And of course we have like other people around us that check in with us and stuff like that, where it's conversations and things like that, that we're able to work through. So those are the things that we kept in terms of accountability.
When we first started seeing each other, I think one of the things that I really struggled with was finding it hard to find someone to be accountable to. And mostly because we were not, I wouldn't say we grew up in like a Christian home. We were Catholics and we had that upbringing, and like my parents did an amazing job with how They gave us really great values and teachings and stuff. But we didn't have a lot of, you could say, like biblical foundation. And so for me, one of the things that I really wish was that I would have had one woman that I could have talked to just to say, hey, how do we go about these things? These are where I'm struggling with as like a young woman that wants to get married. And it's like I'm 17 or 18 at that point. But I need someone to speak into my life about these things that I'm like dealing with, just like emotionally. Hey, how do I get myself ready? Or what am I supposed to be thinking at this stage? And it's a stage where every young person is just looking to have fun and a good time. But you're actually looking to mature into a completely different role. And so I'm not to say that we didn't have women around us. It's just that most of them were Sana's family. So it was a little awkward for me initially to be like, hey, let me go talk to his sisters and his mom and stuff who are great leaders and people that I can go to now for anything. But I'm really grateful that we've established that, like Sana said, now where young people can just feel open to go meet any of the women in leadership and just talk to them and say, I'm really struggling with this. How can you help me through it? And I feel like that's something that's so amazing now, because there's so many things, especially with the pressures of like this generation and how things are going, where everything is so fluid and moving and changing all the time. It's so amazing to have people that you can go to and be accountable for anything. So
What's it like for you guys being like on the road to getting married, having the opportunity to find accountability? And I think accountability really gives strength. That's what I feel. So what's it been like for y'all to go from the journey of being, single to going to the thing of looking at the probability of this relationship to seeing it come into full feasibility, and now you're engaged to get married? What's that journey been like for y'all? Because it's really important for single people to also know, like, I feel like the church is ready now to talk about things like this and, really offer a strengthening walk for people who want to get married.
I was just going to say, after you all shared, that we are really actually grateful for you all as leaders, because people don't really realize that being accountable is not just because you all want to know more stuff about us, but it's you all are helping us and set us up on the right path. Like whatever we do, we come to you all for advice, and because of that, we're able to like have more support into the decisions that we're making, or even like into the future and stuff like that. It just makes it easier. It's not tough at all when we come to you all and when we talk to you all about it. So honestly, I feel like through this journey and through every new season that we've entered, and the more and more we've been accountable to y'all, it's actually been easier because we're able to tell you things that we are going through, and even like help y'all, ask y'all for help to deal with that stuff. So it's kind of even like letting off baggage at that point.
Young people don't know this yet, and they're not encouraged yet to know how privileged it is. I remember when Trisha was getting married, she would really get discouraged a lot through the times. She was 20 when we got engaged and 21 when we got married. Like right from the closest people to friends, people only said, and literally like some people we trusted also, but the only feedback she often got was, you're ruining your life. Like you need to chill more time, you need to have more fun, you need to, and they meant it in the best way, but it was very like heartbreaking for her because she's trying to make a decision for her life, but people around are like, you're too, basically saying, hey, you're too young to make this decision. So it was tough we talked about a lot. So what's it like today for young people? And you guys are not like super old, you're quite young. And so what's it like? Let's say like 3 privileges of having accountability today in the church.
I think some of the privileges we definitely have, I think the first one I would say is perspective. I always thought of things in a certain way, but then when we came to y'all, one thing I got the most was a fresh perspective on looking at things. So I think that would be one. The second thing would be advice. Throughout the course of a relationship, through every relationship, it's very different for different people, whether it be family, navigating each other, fights, the endless thing that we spoke about. I think having accountability really helps with your leaders to get advice on certain matters that you would never have any clue on how to deal with. And I think the third would be someone to always who you're comfortable sharing with and is there to pray for you in that. Because you're not
Support.
always open and comfortable to sharing
Yeah.
everything with different people, right? But if you're accountable to someone, you know you can trust that person and that person will keep that same point in prayer
Yeah.
at all times. So I
That's
think
good.
for me, it would be perspective, advice and prayer would be
Yeah.
3 things that I think would be.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. I think that's if I was younger and I knew that, I would be
Yeah.
so excited to
Honestly.
pursue a relationship. Absolutely.
We'd love to continue these conversations even on our Instagram page. We are open to putting up the Ask Me Anything question on our stories. And if you have more questions regarding anything, even if there are topics that you would like advice on or you would want to talk about, please go ahead and put them in there. Or you can even put them in the comments below. Our pastors are more than welcome to get in touch with you or even talk to you and share their advice on you. Or we can do a next podcast and even address those questions that you've put across. So now we'll move into our next and last segment. Now we're on our game section. Here we are going to give each of the couples, that's one, Sana and Trisha, and me and Stephen, we're going to have 3 categories each. And you're supposed to look at each other face to face and try to say the same word. Okay? So
Done.
like if I give you all a category like drinks, you all are supposed to say the exact same thing. Whoever
Coke.
gets it... No! That's your try. That's your try. That's a trial round.
We actually
We haven't
just-
exactly
Okay,
started.
we haven't started yet. We haven't started.
That
So
is
y'all
actually very
think-
surprising.
Think of 3 categories.
done.
We'll think of 3 categories. Keep it in your mind, and we are going to give. So we start with y'all first. We start with y'all first, okay?
Okay.
So y'all think of a category. Still
Okay, Alright, we're done, guys. You guys need to get more professional at
Done.
this.
We got it. We got it.
Alright.
Ready?
First
We'll
one.
start with
Yeah.
y'all, okay?
All right, go
First
for it.
one. Your first category. Y'all get ready. Look at each
Yeah.
other. Ready? It's not a staring competition. Don't laugh.
Okay.
What was the first
Bible
category?
character.
Okay. Your first category is Bible characters. 3.
Bible. One second.
No, you can't think.
Oh,
Look.
you can't think. Okay.
3, 2, 1. No.
Jesus.
Come on, next one. You have to keep going.
I was
Keep
like,
going.
at least
Did
no.
you say the
Oh, we have
same
to
one?
keep
Oh,
going.
it
Yeah,
keep
Okay,
going.
wait.
alright, alright.
Now you have Noah and you have Jesus. So now
But
think.
we can't say the same thing again.
No.
No.
Okay, cool.
3.
Abraham.
No, wait.
Sana, wait.
3, 2, 1. We'll count it
At
down.
one, on one.
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Mary.
You can't do that.
She can't be
You can't do that. You can't do that.
Okay, let's start again. Count again.
Again, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Daniel. Trisha, you watch the first letter I say and you follow it.
Yeah, that's the
No,
thing.
no,
You
that
are
is cheating.
cheating
That is cheating. That is cheating.
That and
That's
you
not
follow.
the concept.
I thought by now you would have learned this.
You're just going after Mary, Joseph.
You're
It's so
just
much easier.
randomly saying a name that comes to your mouth. Some of them are not even in the Bible.
Come on.
All right.
Next,
Okay,
3.
now you all. No. Now you all give us our first category.
Which one were you?
How many chances?
3 chances.
All right. Your
Ready?
first category is the name of the manufacturers of cars.
Okay.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Maruti.
Next, 3, 2,
Don't
1.
cheat.
Okay. 3,
2, 1.
Suzuki.
I like how you're like, look at it.
Those are only 2 I know.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
McLaren.
Nice try to steal my
I didn't
way of
even
doing
think. I
this.
thought McLaren
Alright, you guys
is just
clearly lost
another-
at that.
Okay, that's
Like
only
how
round
you all
1.
were
We
all
still
like
have
that.
2 more rounds.
Yeah.
I had to. I was trying to get. She's still smiling. Ready?
Alright,
You give the
let's go.
second category.
So the second category is animals.
Hey,
Alright.
don't cheat.
Are you ready?
watch my
Are you ready? 3,
Yeah.
2, 1.
Cow.
How is that watching Sarah's lips? Sarah's completely.
Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Cat.
Trisha.
We're gonna take this a little seriously, okay? Stop it.
Animal. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was going with dog
Last
and
time,
cat
last
first.
time.
You're like cow.
3,
Okay.
3. Look at each other. Look at each other. 3,
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Lion. we got it. She said lion. Okay, next one.
He's ready.
Okay, we'll try it again.
Ouch.
3. No, wait.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Tiger. Dude, we got it. There you go.
That one they actually got.
We got it.
That one they actually got. Okay, you all have to give us the topic.
Oh my god.
Okay. The next one is house appliances. Alright,
At least we're giving you like funnier category.
1.
Geezer.
But tell me who's watching whose lips? Because you'll have both tried to say it
No
slow.
Alright, here you go. Next try. 3, 2, 1.
Induction.
Do you even have an induction in your house?
I don't know, no.
Alright, let's go. One more try. 3, 2, 1.
Fan.
Well,
Not even trying.
you guys,
Fine,
the
you all are
coordination
still-
and teamwork is
I
very
know,
poor.
Stephen, like,
We don't
read
have
my
9 years
lips.
experience.
Okay, last category. Okay, you all are winning by 1 point. This is the last point. This last point determines it all. Okay.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
Your last category is holiday destinations. 3, 2, 1.
Goa.
I'm waiting for that answer.
Where else?
Most obvious one.
Think of anything
Where
else.
else?
Oh my gosh.
I was really scared she was going to say Phuket. But I'm
Even
glad.
I thought you would do it for your honeymoon or something.
No man, Goa is Goa.
Goa is Goa.
No matter what. The third category
It's easy.
is names of movies. And your time starts in 3, 2, 1. Frozen.
Okay, let's try. Ready?
Alright, 3, 2, 1.
Star Wars.
What did he say?
Koi nahi hai, he's a cheat. I was thinking about you like.
I was thinking what you like.
I don't like that movie.
You don't watch all the Hindi movies?
No.
What's your favorite movie?
I don't
Kabhi
have a
Khushi, Kabhi
favorite. Yeah, that okay, that I got.
Alright, your time starts in 3, 2, 1.
You're supposed to say it fast.
A few moments later.
Avengers.
Alright, guys, you have a long way to go in life.
Such a long way to go.
And,
Is it even like close?
alright, last
Wasn't
chance.
even
Okay, last
close.
chance. Last chance to redeem yourself. 3, 2, 1.
Cars.
Let's go. Good job.
1
good job.
point. That was
1
really
point.
good.
1 point.
1 point versus
1
2
point
points.
works.
Great job, guys. I
Okay.
think
Yeah.
you're a good first step.
A good first step. At least
See,
you
we
got
would have
1
got 3 for
point.
3 if Trisha just like followed my lead.
There's
There's a reason why the Bible says
There's no way you can like
wives
try to
honor your
guess.
husbands. Because you have to watch the first step and follow. Good job.
Very nice though. Sana and Trisha, well played. 9 years of experience. It showed.
Good job, guys.
It
Thank
showed.
you.
So the result of the game is that Sana and Trisha win. 9 years of experience shows it all. You know what your partner is going to say before you even say it. So yay, 9 years. Thank you everybody for watching our 5th podcast with Pastor William Soans and Sana and Tricia Soans. We are looking forward to the next podcast that we are going to be coming up with. So go ahead, check out all those other podcasts. If you have any questions or comments that you would like to share, go ahead and do that in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thank you for watching.
Bye.